Welcome everyone to an Age of Empires 2 Nomad game. This right here is a different game than your regular standard Age of Empires 2, because what you might be able to tell right here is that people are starting out without the buildings. Normally in an Age of Empires 2 game, you start out with a TC where you can build your villagers, and from there you can go out and set up your entire economy. But what you see right here is we have two players about here who are building their town center right there, and there's someone who's out here trying to build it over there. People don't start out with their town centers. Instead, they start out on this entire island right here, which is surrounded by water, which in most normal Age of Empires 2 maps also may not be the case. And you start out with two villagers right over here, and you start out with one villager further away. So we have a red villager over here, we have two red villagers over here, and we have a blue villager, we have two over here, and the other one is, I believe... Let's see if we can find him. Where is he? Oh, there he is. He is right over there. Now, the thing with Nomad that makes it very different from normal play, as I said before, normally you start with a TC, you have more villagers around, like you have all the three villagers close together, and then once you get started, you can have them build houses, and you can initially start producing villagers, gathering wood, gathering food, and moving on with your plan. This right here is a little bit different because you don't know, like you start out somewhere, you don't know what the map looks like, and you can decide where you're gonna build your TC, and where, like, what your entire thing will look like. Normally, you may think like, hey, you know, let's say I have a villager right here, let's say I have red right here, and I want to bring my villager very close to my TC, like, you may want to bring everyone together, but the problem with that is, like, if you start doing that, you may start later with building your TC. Like, right here, you already see that blue right here has already started with, like, gathering wood, where red only just now finished their TC. So basically what players here do is they try and find a wood line as fast as possible, hopefully with also an extra resource right here. I think if blue knew that there was right here, there was gold over here, they probably would have changed their TC to here, because it's nice to start on a wood and gold, but you don't always get to choose your best spot, and generally people like to very quickly build their TC, get started, build with the other villager that's out here, build a dock that can start gathering fish, because docks in this game are also a way of getting fish. Now in a lot of wood maps, like a lot of land maps, what you have is you don't really have any place to fish. You might have a little bit of water, but not enough to like place your dock, make fishing chips, and gather fish. So in a lot of games that I started out with, I didn't really know that this was a thing. And one of the things that you find really quickly if you start using docks, it's like it plays a little bit differently because you have to build your fishing ships for wood. But the nice thing about this is that you can make fishing ships right now. Like blue is not making fishing chips, and red right here is also not making fishing chips. But you can make fishing chips while your TC is busy. So basically you can increase the production of your villagers, your working count, whilst you're doing something else. So a lot of times what you're going to see is that these people in these types of situations will go and put a lot more people on wood right here, increase their wood production, so it can also increase their ship production. Or at least maybe that's what we're going to see. Because right now we are watching a match right here between two Nomad players. I'm not necessarily a Nomad player. I've never really played much of a Nomad game myself. I've seen a couple around. But today I want to try and bring you a Nomad game that I play myself. But for that, we need to learn a little bit about what the practices are of Nomad. Now, I started out explaining a little bit as like what the setup is. So you start out with building your TC right there, or building your TC right away with the two villagers you have, and just start spamming villagers. Then what you do is like with the other villager that you have around, you build a house, you build a dock. That seems to be what both players are doing right here. However, what we also want to do is, I want to lower that sound a little bit. What we also want to do is we want to learn out what these people are necessarily doing. Like what is their build schedule? Like what's going on? What is their plan of attack? So for that, we have two players right here that we can focus on. Today, I want to focus right here on the blue player right here, which is Daniela AoE, who is also a streamer, content creator for Age of Empires. She does casting, like we're basically like, well, what I'm doing right now, or what I'm trying to do right now, is just talking over the game, explaining what's going on, showing you these games, and she also plays herself. And this right here is a match between her and Kurt, who I don't really know much about Kurt. I don't think Kurt is a content creator, but I do know that he is from Colombia, because there is a place, there's a website where you can download all these games that people play publicly, and it also shows where they're coming from and what their standing is. So right here above, you can see that there's different numbers right here. This is their rank, and basically the higher the number, the better the player. So as we see right here, Daniela is has the advantage of 52 points, 52 higher. I think it is called ELO. I think that is called like they took that from the chess ELO ratings. But yeah, that can change a lot, because every single time you win or lose, it may maybe plus 12, minus 12. So this might also just be that she's had a good day and Kurt has had a bad day, or whatever, you know. We'll see. We'll see how this match moves along. So let us focus on what Daniela is doing. What we see right now is that we have 7 villagers on wood. One big difference as opposed to a normal match where now you can place your TC on a wood line is that you don't need a lumber camp. Because normally your TC kind of spawns in the middle of it here. It would spawn kind of over here. You have your stone, you have your gold, you would have your berries, so it would kind of be here. And then you have to walk to your wood line and build a lumber camp. But because what we see, Daniela has built her TC right on the wood line, what we find is that she doesn't need to build a lumber camp, saving her 100 wood, which she probably put into building the house right here, building the dock, and then building the fishing ships, which you see are coming out right now. We have about 5 fishing ships, which you can see right here in the top corner. And then what we see right here is that for the rest, she's going on getting the boars as you normally would, getting the sheep. I do actually very quickly just want to check out when she built these fishing ships right here, even before she knows where she's going to place her TC. What we see right here is that immediately the house comes up and the dock comes ready, and I think that's also what we're going to see with Red. Red's going to find a bit of a better spot, like a corner right here for the fishing ships to go, and it's basically you just build a house, build a dock, and then from that, I think the first fishing ship comes out right away. These villagers go straight away to wood. Because of that, once she has around 75 wood, we see that the first fishing ship is being constructed. We see the first fishing ship coming out, and then there is, with the fishing ship, there's 5 on food. And basically what we see right here is that she went ahead and lured a boar. Let's go back here real quickly to take a look at that. So right here, we see that 75 wood has been collected. And the moment that that wood has been collected, it is time to go out and grab the boar, get the boar, take it down, and then put 3 villagers on food and keep 3 on wood. Because right now we have also the fishing ship going on. And then I think that is the rest of the villagers all go on food right here. Oh no, right here, you see the difference between having a dock. So like another fishing ship is being created. And then it remains to be 5 on wood to keep up like the fishing boats until about number 5. And then it is just the regular standard build, it seems. So we're going to speed up to back to where we were. But that is something that I think is very, very interesting to take a look at how this map plays a little bit differently as you may expect from a regular game. Now, I'm really curious as to where this villager is going to go. This villager seems to just walk all the way back to where everyone else is, and I'm wondering whether that is because that will give her a little bit of insight as to what's going on, and also this villager won't really be all that useful here anymore, building things by her own. She can't really be making anything here, and I think that one thing that's really interesting here is she has probably also spotted that right here, Red is here in the area, which if someone's building a house here, it's very likely that our TC is close by. So that's some useful information. We also see that she's been scouting with sheep right here. There's a sheep walking around. You don't have a scout either, so either you're going to have to walk around with villagers, which sometimes people do when they're quite new to it, but walking around with villagers costs you like valuable time that you could also be working. So sending out sheep is also a good way to go around. She doesn't see right here that Red is here, but maybe she'll find something later on. How does the game continue? Where right now we're seeing the uptime is about a minute later than a regular like Dark Age time. About 10 minutes in, they're clicking up. Red is a little bit faster. What we see, Red has about 10 villagers on food, 4 on wood, 10 on food, nothing on gold and stone, and Daniela has 3 on gold, and that is right here, which is interesting. We have a gold situation developing right here. We have houses coming up right there, and what we see is that Daniela is a little bit more ahead when it comes to like their economy. So 27 villagers as opposed to 24, and if we look right here, the idle TC time for both is much better than I ever have done. Like 12 seconds and 16 seconds. Most of the time I'm double that. I'm like 35. So that means that they're going quite even right now. Kurt should be going into feudal age just in a couple seconds, and then we'll see what he does. Like, he is very much focused. He's moved some couple of villagers to gold, which I think the reason for that. Where can we find the gold villagers, by the way? Where are his gold villagers? I'm quite curious. Where is he taking gold? Right there. It's probably just took him longer to find the gold because that is pretty far away. That's one of the hard parts about the Nomad game. Now, this right here is interesting that Kurt has actually gone ahead and like built his mill a little bit off the berries to go and hunt go for the hunt right here. Normally you place it on the berries to go get the food right there. But it seems like Kurt is going to try and go for a fast castle where he's building the market, probably going to go for a blacksmith soon, and then building up to go to castle age as soon as possible just to get your defenses going. And this right here is a classic fast castle. We see basically Daniela building right away as fast as possible to the required buildings to go to the next stage. And then also going for the hunt right here. And then once she has that, she's almost ready to go up to the next age. So what we see right here, 11 villagers on food, free on gold, does seem to be, if you do that, you seem to be able to get to like the castle age quite quickly. Which is something that I'm going to keep in mind. Like, I'm going to try and follow this build a little bit when I'm going to try and do this build myself. We're just looking at things that are interesting in this game right here. And we're just going to go look at things that are interesting, like this sheep right here, who's out here looking for a mate. He's looking towards the deer. Deer don't really seem to be his type up. Maybe he finds another sheep right here. Maybe he finds a little matey right here. He doesn't. He's not interested. Can he even see that? Did he even see that? He didn't even see that. That is quite unfortunate. It's quite an unfortunate sheep. Who's just going to be walking around, and pretty soon is going to feel like turning into the blue side, because once the sheep encounter another color characters, they're going to feel like, well, maybe I want to be your sheep. But it also will let Kurt know that Daniela is in this area. There we go. So if we go here to Kurt's point of view, which we should still be on, he sees right here that there's a market here. And that should basically just indicate, like, okay, so this right here is what Daniela's base is. Daniela, by the way, just uses the sheep in the exact same way, just to go out and scout what is on the map. She probably knows right here that there's a house here, so she'll probably want to explore a little bit here. And what we see here is very interesting. She starts to build outposts, which normally in a game, you don't necessarily see that fast. But one of the things that you also don't necessarily see is, like, if you compare this map a little bit to Arabia, which is also a very open map on Age of Empires 2. This map is sort of similar to Arabia. It is a map that's not very easily wallable, depending on your location. Let's say you're right here. She could wall this quite fast. She could wall that, but then that right there is a little bit tough. Or right here, Kurt, like, he tried to wall this. I think that that's quite a decent wall, but then that right there is a little bit tougher. It's kind of like Arabia style, but one of the things that you don't see necessarily in Arabia, as we're seeing a castle come down. Oh boy. Hold on. I just want to go back a little bit. I just want to go back a little bit, see what that outpost saw. Because one of the things that I was just about to say is that you don't necessarily see on Arabia a lot of fast castles, because one of the problems is that it's such an open map, so that if you go out and you make a little bit of an, like, you know, you start focusing very much on the economy, not developing army, you will have the problem that the other opponent is going to go and raid you with his army. And if just a couple of archers or like a couple of scouts run through here, they could do some massive damage. And that's something that you see right here. These villagers will be totally exposed. If I had an army like of archers come through here and just take out the villagers here, these villagers would all be dead. And there are about 6 villagers, which you can't see right behind me. I should probably go move myself up here a little bit. We have here villagers that would be very quickly dead. And these villagers are close to the TC, so they might be able to be safe. But that would be, let's say that we would just take like these villagers right here. This would be 8, 6. That would be 14 villagers you could take out. Now in Arabia, you started with a scout, which is already like giving you information that could allow you to switch over to ministry quite fast. But here you see that neither of these players are walled up. Neither of these players are preparing very much for the aggression. I think Kurt is even more a bit more protected, but still he has right here 3 villagers. He has 4 villagers. Like, he has 7 villagers exposed as to 14 from Daniela. But it's really interesting to see that on this map, it seems like the practice is not necessary to go into early aggression. It might be a tactic that you could play, but seeing that this is a pretty high level match, where 1600 elo is not necessarily the highest. I think the highest is about 2500 elo, but this is still pretty high level play. That it's not necessarily expected from either of these players that there will be aggression coming in. So that's why right now, this is a very interesting situation, where what we say now is that Daniela's coming in with a castle, which I thought was really interesting, because what we're seeing here is you build up that outpost just to get some vision. Like, let's say something's happening, you can see that happening. She already had an idea that there was something here, but this right here is a pretty clever move to just kind of anticipate that there will probably be something here. I don't think you can see the market in the blacksmith. That's probably something that only we can see. Just going forward. And I think also in the meantime, what she's also done is she tried to take the water. So you have a fire ship right here. I think that if we go to Red right here, Red still has all of his fishing ships. But what we see right here, Daniela's on the move on the water. She has a fire ship, and the idea of the fire ship is that you try and kill the opponent's fish, because that will just take out some of their food economy. And this right here is something that is completely unguarded. So we're also going to follow the water a little bit, but first I'm more interested in what's happening here with the castle drop. So let's continue on that play right here. Let's speed a little bit forward to where we are. There we go. And there we go. So the castle drop is coming in. What can she see? She sees the market in the blacksmith, so that means that it is pretty close by. She sends about 10 villagers forward. 9 villagers? Yeah, 10 villagers and 1 sheep forward to go and build this castle. In the meantime, can Kurt see this? Kurt can't see this going up, and how does he react? Well, he pulls his villagers right here off of food. I think he reckons that these villagers right here are quite safe, because why would you bother to look there? And he starts building his own castle right here as the protection to the like to the market and the blacksmith right here, and kind of, I think even more so to protect this segment right here, because if Daniela were to make army, it would be a lot harder to go and move through this area when it's protected by the castle. Now, one thing that I'm quite curious about is, like, this castle, these castles don't range each other, I think. Or they do. They just about do. They just about do. Like, look, it's just on the edge there, and this right here is also just on the edge there. So now these castles are battling each other. That's a great placement. I would not have placed that good. But yeah, you see these castles are taking each other down, and you see that it's a very slow battle. We have about 4,700 health on the blue castle, 4,700 health on the red castle. It's going to take a while before these guys shoot each other down, but it's just keeping up some pressure. In the meantime, what we're seeing here is that the fire ship has found a fish. This right here is basically 5 villagers, 5 food villagers that you can take out. And it doesn't seem like Kurt has any army right here on the water. There's another fire ship just looking around here to see if it can find something, but I don't think it will find something. So yeah, that's just going to take out the fish, which is going to be a nice thing for Daniela, because then she doesn't have to worry about Kurt taking out like any offensive ships to take out her fish, and she could freely fish boom, as they call it. So this right here is still continuing on. What we're also seeing is like both started making conquistadors. That is really cool. So they started making an army right now. The Conquistador is a special unit of the Spanish, and as you can see, they're both playing Spanish. So this is a really interesting matchup, because what we're saying here is that you're both gonna have the same tools to work with. You're gonna have the same civilization. You're gonna have the same units, which makes it very much of a match of skill. It's like, how are you gonna go and like work with the same tools that everyone, like your opponent, has? And I think this is quite interesting. Like the Conquistador, I don't play the Spanish all that much, but I think one of the benefits of the Spanish is, first of all, they build faster, but secondly, the Conquistador is also a pretty cool unit, which is like a gunpowder unit on a horse, which means that it has the speed of a horse, but it also has the gunpowder that can, like, from a distance, go and take out like huge amounts of villagers. If you can just go in, shoot them down. It's basically just like a mounted archer, but then a gunpowder unit. Now, we see that the Conquistador here has been found by the fire ship. This one will be taken down soon, but let's see what's going on here with the castles, because I think both are making more. Yeah, we have Conquistadors right in here. We have Conquistadors right in here that just amplify the power of the castles. And let's see what the next moves will be. So what we see right here is Daniela is just increasing the eco upgrades, getting a little bit more food out of the farms. We're seeing like the wood upgrade, getting more wood out of the lumber camp. Lumber camp has actually been made. And what we're seeing here, we're seeing a siege workshop come into play. The siege workshop right here will hopefully be used to take down the castle. And what do we see with Kurt right here? Oh my god, Kurt has 2 minutes of idle TC time. Holy shit, when did that happen? I think that it was basically right here. If we go forward to this part right here, all of a sudden, like, look at these villagers just stop being produced. He was focused on something else, and now that's just come back to bite him. Where that is a huge lack of villagers. Like, there is a difference of 14 villagers between the two, and Daniela has built her second TC, which means that right here she can start producing villagers. That's a great spot. You want to be looking for a wood line and some gold, and that also kind of blocks off this point right here. If Kurt wants to enter through here, this kind of is blocked off by the castle. His units will be shut down. This right here is blocked off by the TC. That will be shut down, and then right here she starts walling off this. That is some great map awareness, and I'm actually quite curious how much of the map has she discovered. She has seen this already. She has seen that. That is fantastic, and right now she also knows about that. So she can basically control this entire element. Like this entire part of the island, she can control. I don't know if she's going to place watchtowers here or something over here. That would be something where you could see the incoming army. But I think that right now she's just looking at like, hey, can we go and use these conquistadors to go and attack the wood line right here? That's the great thing about range units. Range units don't need to come around here. They can just go back here, fire some shots, and I think she's just going to look for the eco, which right here, Kurt has built a second TC, which is nice. Now the idle TC time is going to go up quite fast, which isn't all that bad, because if you have 2 TCs, like, you may not always have something going on in both of them, but then again, the better you are at managing it. Like, Daniela also has 2 TCs right here, but she keeps them busy all the time. Like, there is a big difference. 4-minute idle TC time versus 44 seconds. That is really quite interesting. So, yeah, right now, Daniela is taking the score lead, as you can see right here. And the Mangonels are coming out. So both of these players are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to do a siege push where they're trying to take out the castle, which is going to be a very intense thing. Because right here, if the castle here goes down, it gives Kurt a straight angle into the economy. And then if we look right here, if Daniela gets to take out that castle, it's going to be the same way. Now, the rams right here are not supported by any army, and I'm wondering what's inside the rams. What kind of things are inside the rams? I think it's just villagers. So they have repair villagers there, so I think Kurt's idea was just to kind of sneak towards the castle and then take it out. But he didn't expect it to be Mangonels, and these Mangonels can just hit these hit these rams from quite afar, and then your rams are going to go down. If you don't have a supporting army with you to take down these mangonels right here, your rams are just going to go down. It's not going to help much. I think that he's trying to save them and go around the other way, or maybe he had a bad angle on here. So, as you can see, the siege is doing quite a bit of damage. 3,500 health versus 4,500 health. That is forcing Kurt basically to start repairing, spend stone on repairing the castle right here. But then again, like, the difference in stone is not all that much. Right now, the rams are being repaired. I'm wondering what's going to happen here. Also, we are just seeing another castle come up here. I think Kurt has realized that Daniela went around with the conquistadors. It could have been very bad if Daniela discovered right here that the eco was here, but Daniela didn't notice this. Otherwise, that would have been really bad. And I think Kurt realized, like, let me go places right here. So what we're seeing from Daniela right now is that she's going to Imperial Age, which basically makes this a lot more of a boom game, where it's like very much focused on like try and get up as fast as you can. This right here is an interesting battle that we're gonna see, where basically the rams have been spotted, the villagers have become under attack. That's a nice fill pick right here. The rams are going to have to relocate, but what you see right now is that these units are not out of position, and Kurt has army to go and attack these mangonels, and if he can take out these mangonels right here, then this castle could be in serious danger, because once these rams get on the castle, as you can see, there's no blue area right here, so the castle can't attack them. So these rams are now, like, only the conquistadors right here can like attack them. But we see that the conquistadors here have been killed by the castle fire, and I think that we're going to see that these rams will go down as well, which will be unfortunate. This push will not have a great effect, and what we're also going to see, because there's 4 villagers here, these villagers will go down as well. So that has not been a very successful push, even though this castle came down quite a bit. Look at that. Half health right there. And I think that is going to be the last that we see of that, and now the entire army is gone. So that is an interesting situation that we have right now. Alright. Well, only 30 more seconds, and then we have Imperial Age for Daniela, and Kurt is not anywhere close to Imperial Age. He only has 8 villagers on food, 11 on gold, so he's pushing more for gold. Maybe he wants to buy his way towards Imperial at some point, or I don't think he's thinking about Imperial at all. I think he wants to build more castles here, maybe spend more gold to buy more castles to just protect this leak right here, and that is not a good castle! Oh, that is rough. That is really, really rough. I think that he needs this castle to go up to plug this hole right here. But I don't know if that's going to happen, because he doesn't have the mass right here. He has 4 conquistadors versus 8. So he doesn't have the mass to take down this group right here, because you're fighting with the same units. And he just, yeah, he calls it GG. That's not going to happen. Basically what I think is, if we just go back right here, he saw that if this hole doesn't get plugged, like, I'm just going to be run over. This castle doesn't complete. I can't go into Imperial Age, and this right here is also, I think, just a couple of seconds back. Yeah, Daniela reached Imperial Age, and then he was like, yeah, I can't do anything. So that is the end of the game. So yeah, almost 11. Thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. So one of the things that we're learning right here, which I think is really, really interesting to take away from this game, is that it's a lot more boomy than a Nomad game is, even though it is as open as a Nomad game is. But what we're seeing now is that both these players went very fast into castle. They went a pretty fast castle, not necessarily focusing on army until what was it called? Until the castle age hit. I kind of want to see if I can go back in time. What's the going back in time function? There is some key that will bring me back in time. T maybe? Yeah, there we go. We can go around in time. So what we see right here, castle age is not in, and there's no army from either of them, which is really, really interesting to me. I was expecting these kinds of games to be a lot more aggressive, and I think they could be, but looking at how these are 2 pretty high-ranked players, I think that if I were to just go play Nomad against an AI or against like a regular player, I think that would be quite a raid. Trying this approach as well. Just going a fast castle, focusing on wood at the start to get one fishing ship out, then focusing on getting your boar, getting your food situation a little bit sorted around here. The focus on the hunt is really interesting. One of the things that I'm noticing as well, and I just want to point this out, which I think is really, really interesting, is I think both players go for the hunt in a very awkward position. Normally in your game, what you'd like to do is you want to make sure that if you go for your hunt here, you want to bring that close to the TC, because this is going to be a lot of walking. Like, if we look at this villager right here, I think I have a way to look at his life cycle here. Can I look at his stats? Let's see, research on the map, mini-map mode, military. I thought there was some sort of way that I could look at the stats for this villager, and then see how long, like what he's been doing. I don't know how to do this. I do not know. I'm so sorry. But what you can see right here, these villagers, they're gathering food right here. And once they're done with the food, they're going to have to walk all the way back, a really long way back, to the TC, where normally you would never want this to happen. You would never want to have your like hunt out this far. This is why you push it in with your scout. This is why you bring in the boar. You don't want to be walking far away. And what you're going to see with the boar right here, this is a more traditional approach where, oh wow, she's using like TC fire. This is a more advanced mode where you're just using the TC to fire the boar down, and then you have to get the last shot with the villager, otherwise the boar is dead and you can't use it for food. Man, more normally you want to have it like this, where the villagers can walk very quickly to the TC. But I think both players in this group, like they're both walking quite far. Like these guys right here are going to go over here, which makes sense because that's close as gold. But I think even if we speed up further, we see that they're quite comfortable with walking quite a bit. Like this mill right here was placed for the hunt, but it also goes for the berries. And this normally is not where you place a mill if you're going to go for berries. Normally the mill is going to be placed there. That sheep is a good... Oh, he didn't find a sheep. Okay, that's interesting. So, I think a couple of things that we find is no army until Castle Age. And then also what we find is, like, go for your food, go for your wood, but don't be too pedantic about having it be super close, about hunting it in. I see no one making a stable to get scouts and then moving them in. So, I think that's something that we're going to be looking at. And this right here is very interesting. Daniela was ready to drop that castle at hitting Castle Age. So, actually, I'm quite interested. When did she send people to Stone? The stone happened... Whoa, the stone... I mean, yeah, of course the stone was right next to the TC, but the stone happened just even before Feudal Age, and then she kept on the stone this entire time. And that was 12 minutes in heading Feudal Age, and then if we just look at when she clicks up the castle, that is... She actually went for Loom and then clicked that off and then went for Castle. That is wild. So that is basically, within 2 minutes, going to Castle, and also Kurt followed quite fast. And one thing I'm quite curious about then is if we go and look at the tech tree. Can we look at the tech tree right here? The tech tree right here. I'm curious as to whether both have Loom. Kurt has Loom. Daniela does not have Loom. So if Kurt would have gone in here with just an archer army, they would have been feasting. They would have been absolutely feasting here. But yeah, this right here, good move to get a scout going as like, hey, where is he? And then basically the moment that Castle should drop a castle, put the pressure on the opponent, and yeah, basically force him into making a castle of his own. And this is also your unit production. So you're not going to go for bed. We've not seen any barracks. We've not seen any other units. We're just seeing straight conquistadors from the castle. So yeah, that is going to be what we're going to learn from this. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I hope you guys enjoyed this look of a pretty high professional game covered by someone who is quite new to the game, and seeing what we can learn from this.